Welcome to the original Rockin' Wrestling Radio Show. Welcome to Beyond Ringside, your source for wrestling, MMA, and boxing in the Southeast. To contact the Ringside Roundtable of Beyond Ringside, email them at beyondringside@gmail.com. And now, your host for Beyond Ringside, the man, no myth, all legend, Fast Eddie Layne.
23 before the top of the hour. Welcome into Beyond Ringside Live on this Sunday, the 10th day of August, 2014. Kind of wish I'd have been alive in two other different years. One was AD, one was BC. Although, how would you know if it was 420 BC? You would know if it was 420 AD. Think about it for a minute. Live from Studio One, glad to be a part of your afternoon. Like to welcome in tag team partners Mark MaBo Bowman. And the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
I don't even know how to follow that.
We're not quite sure what sound that was that MaBo was making. We're just going to hope for the best. First off, thank you to everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com, through Ustream, through the different mobile apps, and now thank you to everybody who is listening in courtesy of our link in through Stitcher Radio. And
Smart Cast.
Also, thank you to
We're right there. We're right there with Stitcher.
The brass ring is out there, yo. We just need to if we can get Kevin Smith to cut a promo for us on Stitcher.
Lock in, that'd be amazing. Oh, Eddie, we're getting this for you, I promise.
Okay. And also, thank you to everybody who is now listening through the live feed over at TuneIn Radio, over at TuneIn.com, as well as their mobile app. So, guess what? The fire spreads, and we're happy for it.
So does herpes, but we don't
shut
talk
up.
about that.
The fire rises.
The fire still burns. I'm just not giving back my mask this week. I'll wait another 2 weeks on that one.
Wait, welcome to Beyond Ringside, brother. They expect one of us to be dead in the wreckage.
No, none of us are wearing the Starfleet red shirt. None of us are going to be killed in the first segment. Sci-fi joke crosses over to wrestling. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And no, we're not going to bring up Glacier at any time right now. Hi, Ray. How you doing? Just kidding. From that vantage point, got a couple of things I want to touch on real quick, so to speak. Number one, we lost one of the greats, especially in the southeastern region. A number of folks, longtime wrestling fans, are going to remember a gentleman who went by the nickname of the Oklahoma Bulldog. That's how I knew him. Ken Lucas passed away this week. Tremendous in-ring talent, great grassroots performer. Was one of my inspirations for getting into pro wrestling to begin with. One of the few people who genuinely could work both sides of the fence and pull it off without a hitch. And like I said, tremendous reputation all the way, especially through the southeastern United States. Longtime fans of southeastern wrestling, as well as not continental, but Memphis wrestling, as well as Georgia Championship Wrestling. A lot of folks are going to remember the name Ken Lucas. Well, unfortunately, we have lost one of the all-time greats in that particular regard. Like I said, grassroots, folk style, tremendous when it came to being able to carry a match on either side of the board. So definitely thoughts, prayers, definitely going out to the family and inner circle of friends for Ken Lucas.
Les Thatcher and Jerry Jarrett had some very kind words for Ken Lucas yesterday. That's how I found out about it, was through their Facebook post. So.
Mark, anything you want to add?
Big bucket of win.
God,
One bucket of win.
you are just like you're playing psychological hopscotch today. You just keep forgetting to write the number 4 in the grid.
I'm playing psychological tic-tac-toe by myself right now.
There you go.
MaBo was turning into Eraserhead.
Also, from that vantage point, let me go ahead and say this one also. Even though a number of us here on the network are not NASCAR fans, a lot of people know that I am. To the family and say what?
So that is a messed up situation.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers definitely.
Why people get out your car like an idiot?
Yeah, he got out of his car. Hold on, do me a favor. We'll get the discussion in a hot second. Let me go ahead and get this part out first. To the family of Kevin Ward Jr. and to the inner circle of friends, our thoughts and condolences going up in their direction this afternoon. crazy circumstance that occurred last night at a outlaw race, dirt track race involving Mr. Ward and Tony Stewart. And there's a lot of speculation in a lot of different directions, and a lot of people started shooting their mouth off last night on social media without knowing all the information, and some people who had not even seen any video. And that's what one of the things that I can't stand about social media is the fact that some people will go off half-cocked. And everybody knows if you're going to go off cocked, make sure you're fully cocked, not half-cocked. So from that vantage point, Wick, you were starting to say a minute ago.
No, I mean, I haven't seen the video. I don't know if I will. I'm not big of that. Angie, I'm sure, has already seen the video. It's one of those things that you don't get out your car. You don't give a crap if you're blowing off steam, whatever. You don't get out your car. We've seen this before. Yeah. Anybody's ever seen a Faces of Death or a Traces of Death?
Oh, God, yes.
I mean, you don't, Inhumanities, any of those snuff documentaries, even though half of them are staged.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get out your car. I'm sorry. It's a tragic situation. And I'm feel for Kevin's family and for Tony Stewart and his family, but you don't get out your car.
See, and that's another side of the coin that I do want to put out there. A lot of people know that I am a Tony Stewart fan. I was going to say a Smoke fan, but I know a lot of people jump straight over to that 420 reference again, to which I've got to just sit back and say, no, I wasn't crying. I was in the back smoking a joint with Van Damme. Thank you, Paul Heyman from One Night Stand. That still sticks in my head, and I'll cover that DVD set in just a minute. But, my heart goes out to Smoke and the entire Stewart-Haas racing family at this point in time also because, no matter what, you never anticipate or even consider the notion that something is going to go this far. So I can only imagine what's weighing on Tony Stewart's head and heart right now. Poignant comments that have been put out on a number of different fronts from Stewart-Haas, from NASCAR itself. And, it's like last night. Situation occurred. Guess what? You race hard. You race to win. And that's understandable that somebody ends up getting spun out and gets put into the wall. It happens, especially on dirt. Especially with those cars, because the aerodynamics of those things, they're so volatile, it's not even funny, and that's a shoot. And when Ward spun out into the wall, and he broke, as Wick just said, Cardinal Rule 1. Unless the car is on fire, stay with your vehicle until the emergency teams get there. Ward got out of his car and started walking across a track. A dirt track. This is not asphalt. This is not concrete. This is dirt. And unfortunately, you have to remember in certain circumstances, 1, this is dirt. 2, the track is poorly lit. And see, 3, you're in the middle of a situation with a driver who's not going to back down. So you're basically entering yourself into a can't-win game of chicken. I hate to sound like that, but it's true. It'd be like if I were to turn around and wear a damn sumo wrestling rubber outfit and try to walk across 285 in Atlanta, Georgia during 5:30 rush hour traffic. I'm taking my life in my hands, and I know this, no matter how angry I am. But I'm not going to go any further on that. I will save that for a later point in time. We'll probably talk a little bit more on Back to Basics this coming Tuesday night. And I made a reference to the Heyman DVD. Now, Wick, overall perspective, I know that you probably haven't picked it up yet, and I know that you're kind of 50-50 on it. MaBo, I know that you said you've been trying to get a hold of it. Did you manage to get a hold of it?
I'm not going to talk about that situation because we might lose our sponsorship with Best Buy.
If we got a sponsorship with Best Buy, I'm going in for a discount. I picked mine up early this week. Actually, Wednesday.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Wow, the video was just sent to me, and I thought, oh, my God, that is terrible.
Yeah.
That is terrible. That is something, and, Angie's a nurse, and she knew, she called out exactly what was going to happen and what was going on. So when you have a nurse for a girlfriend, she can't just watch anything. She has to tell you the exact cause and what took it's terrible. It's like walking around with House.
Yeah.
I'm living with House, everybody, without the limp, with all the seizures.
House is still an incredible show after all this time. It's still fun to watch.
I've never seen
Wait a minute, hold on. If you guys are going to watch and give your reaction, let me sit down and watch this sumbitch get hit.
It is terrible.
Then, while you're trying to find... Do you know where the video is?
I don't have to. You sent the link to me earlier.
Oh, okay, that's right. I put it in I put it in the joint message. Wick, check your Facebook messages more often.
I did. Right now.
All right. All right, look, you guys, I know this is, probably going to come off very cold and callous, especially for me, but it's like this. You dumbass got out the car. You dumbass got hit. Do I feel bad for you? No. Your family? Maybe. I don't feel bad for you, though. Your dumbass got out.
He ran at him. He ran at Tony Stewart. Like he was going to, jump and punch him. I don't know. Get out your car, first of all. And then to run at a car on a dirt track.
No.
Right, here we go. I don't see nothing. And I still don't see nothing.
That video has actually been all over the world today because that was actually a fan video shot last night at the track while everything was taking place. And actually, that is the same video that ESPN, Fox Sports 1, NBC Sports Network.
Stupid pop-up thing, get out of the way. And here he comes. Hey, I'm going to punch your car.
No, you're not. You're going to get hit.
He literally is trying to fight the car.
Yes, and you lose that fight every time.
Daggone it, stupid pop-up, get out of the way.
You get that many pop-ups on YouTube?
It says, click here to watch Moment of Crash. I don't want to.
No, because if the green banner's at the bottom, that's going to take you to a different video where it's been edited.
I'm trying to want to see the idiot get hit. Oh, did he roll? Oh, shoot. Let's see that again. Go back.
While you're doing that, let me go ahead and say...
You dumb schmuck. You dumb bastard.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, I said bastard. Stealing from Lobo there. Do it again.
No, actually, you stole from Monty. You actually...
Yeah, you deserve that. You think you're going to punch a car? You schmuck.
He did not deserve that.
Hey, okay, how about this? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to hop out on the street. You know where I live, Eddie. You know I live on 280.
Yes.
I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight one of them cars. How about that?
That's your fault.
Dumb schmuck.
But you don't deserve to be killed. I mean, you don't deserve to die because of it.
Eddie, let me ask you this. Of his own volition, of his own cognizance, did he get out of the car and try to fight the car?
He got out of the car to speak his mind to Tony Stewart.
Okay, this cat was high off his ass then. You don't get out and fight a car. Unless you're Megatron.
Oh, shoot.
Dude, he's 20 years old. He thought he was invincible.
He's a kid, or was a kid. Okay, let's move on.
He's a skid mark.
No, he's a skid mark. I didn't know he was a critter, brother. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Jamie, Billy, what's up? Yeah, exactly. Now,
Violet.
Go ahead. Wick, you were saying?
Violet.
Oh, okay.
And the weird thing about it is Skidmark was actually the best of all those guys.
I know it.
Skidmark is actually a really good wrestler.
He really is. I remember seeing him early on, and I was like, oh, that guy's good.
Well, he did like a JBL type gimmick after he left the Critters, and he was really good. Steve Carr is what he went by.
Now, if I may, I started to make an allusion to the Heyman.
Talk about wrestling on this show.
Yeah, there you go. I was making an allusion to moving over toward the Paul Heyman DVD set, which was released this week. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman.
No, your name is Fast Eddie Layne.
You know, it was the title of the disc.
It's disc 1. The other part, disc 2.
And the other part, disc 3.
Not unless you have the Blu-ray. Then it's just 1 and 2.
I have the standard edition release, and it's 3 discs.
Yeah, and the Blu-rays too.
Okay. Correct. Right. Yeah, that's right. You normally buy the Blu-ray edition, don't you?
Yes, I'm a big baller like that. Yo, what? Make it rain on them tricks.
There are some things in this world that people on this show should never say. But I'm going to sit back and say this. As far as it goes with the DVD set, in all sincerity, this is breaking pure honesty here. I was guardedly optimistic when I first heard about it. Because having a run in pro wrestling that Paul Heyman has had, I'm wondering exactly how, especially the Autobio disc, is going to come out. So when I went ahead and picked it up, sat down with the content idea of watching the first disc. I went through discs 1 and 3 especially, and am working on disc 2. Unfortunately, I have a life, therefore I can't watch the whole thing all in one shot. Although it'd be nice to be able to sometimes. I just need sleep. I'm going to sit back and say this, in all honesty, worth every penny. So would I buy it again? Hell yes. Would I recommend it to friends? Hell yes. Would I loan my copy out? No, spend the damn money.
For only $9.99.
We're not going to get started on that, but okay, fine. Let's go ahead and get started on that. Do you realize that $9.99 was actually a trending topic on Twitter at one point in time this week, guys? Do you realize they managed to get the price of the network as a trending topic on Twitter?
What? Is there a joke in that somewhere?
Yes, it is. It's a huge joke.
I don't know if Wick watched Monday Night Raw there, buddy.
No, all I've heard is ADR getting fired thanks to MaBo. I mean, no, he didn't get fired thanks to MaBo, but thanks to MaBo, I know that ADR got fired for slapping somebody around. The typical Randy Orton move, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
See, what people don't really know was ADR slapped me. That's what it was. He heard some of my comments about him being one of the most boring wrestlers ever.
Look,
he came up and slapped me.
I've called him a one-trick pony from square one.
No, he had gotten better since he announced he wasn't re-signing. The last 8 or 9 months of ADR has been some of his best work, I have to admit. I mean,
I'll agree to that.
Everything I've seen of it has been really, really good. It's like he didn't care. He got the stick out of his ass. And who puts these sticks up their asses?
I don't know. Is there a guy that does that? He just walks around and puts sticks in people's asses and then just, lets them be ticked off.
I figured it would be Smokey Bear because the less sticks there are on the ground, the less chance you have of setting a forest fire. And remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
No, not true. Not true. If you rub a beaver hard enough, I'm sure it'll get hot.
And on that note, I'll let you tell Wick exactly what happened Monday night on Raw with the price of the network.
I don't know, dude. I was taking a dump during that, but I could hear it. Apparently that was like a running joke that Triple H just came out there and was pushing, the thing is the price of the network is $9.99. You could see just literally $9.99 was said probably 20, 30 times in that one segment. Yeah. I mean, it was funny. It was definitely funny, if nothing else.
It really did get to a point where it was monotonous, though. I mean, that's legit. And he starts out where I'm going to pat myself on the back, because not only can you get this, but you also get this, and you get to see all this for the low, low price of $9.99. Then he started breaking down match by match and saying, and you can see that this Sunday on the network for $9.99. It got to the point where the crowd was chanting $9.99.
Man, that is those are sheeple and retards right there.
Well, they didn't.
So stupid.
They didn't chant per se. They didn't do a multi-chant. They just filled in the blank $9.99.
That is so stupid. See, that's exactly why movies like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles make a damn dime, because people will see anything. People will see anything nowadays. It is terrible. You might as well go ahead and make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, make them aliens, and give them nose that make them look like your stereotypical black people.
Well, there you go.
I was going for Shrek, but okay.
No, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it looks like he was like, hey, man, hey, brother, and you're like, no, Jerry, no, leave. Michael Bay, leave us alone. They have taken over. People will see anything, and people will buy anything. This is terrible.
Yeah, pretty much they will.
$8,000 donation for potato salad. At least that guy gave some of his money away.
Going 4 minutes before the top of the hour. MaBo, who have we got coming up at 6?
Sorry, I blacked out. I was reading something about how horrible the Ninja Turtles movie is. Megastar Memphis Monroe will be joining us later on. He is the current reigning LXW, whatever the secondary title is.
You and I both work for LXW. You were at the last show. You should remember this.
Look, man, Kevin Brandon puts too many words on those titles. I can't remember.
Well, unfortunately, it couldn't just stop at cat, dog, rat, and stopping there.
Rat.
Being a nice person. Not going to venture off into MaBo-isms. Refusing to, at least. Okay. Yeah, but in all seriousness, and here's the thing, and this is the funny part about this. The one main funny part. A little bit later in the broadcast, JBL himself says, if $9.99 starts trending on Twitter, I'm done. Here it goes. It trended. He's done with what? What are you done with?
Probably drinking for the night. He normally goes to the entire broadcast.
I'll give you that one.
Michael!
I am so ready for next week's Ring of Honor. Kevin Steen, Steve Corino on television. Now, this is reportedly going to be what? Steen's last televised appearance with ROH?
So it is.
Well, nothing's ever permanent.
Well, until he's done with the WWE.
There you go. Now, personally, I'm looking forward to the match. Because Steen and Corino have good chemistry. They work well together. They've met. Thank you, Ron White, for the use of the phrase. If there is a match, and I know that we're 2 weeks away from a couple from some shows that are taking place in and around the state of Alabama, one in particular that a lot of us are going to be a part of on the network. But I'm going to sit back and bring this up. Steen Corino. How strong is that match to you right now? MaBo?
How strong is it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, ROH is a different creature altogether than, say, a WWE, so, everybody knows that they've got history. So, I mean, they could have not had a program for a while, but still come back. Everybody knows this is his last match, and it's still going to be, everybody's still going to be all wanting to watch it.
True. Wick, go ahead. Wick, your thoughts?
Steve Corino is amazing. There you go. That's it. I have no interest in seeing this match. I'm not a Kevin Steen fan at all. I'm not a fan of anybody that works in a t-shirt. Turned down for what?
Nice use of the phrase. And I actually still don't like that song. It's useless.
Jesus loves that song. That's on Jesus' iPod. You better watch out.
Really? How did that song end up on Jesus' iPod?
I don't know. Don't you know Jesus would kick over scales and flip over tables?
That's true.
From Little John.
Before we go to the top of the hour break, one thing in particular. Mae Young will forever be known as being tougher than Dixie Carter.
And yeah.
Because no matter what, now I give credit where credit is due. This, in case you missed Impact Thursday night, they promised and they paid off. Dixie Carter took the table bump from the from Team 3D out of the second turnbuckle. I give credit; she took it, and the whole damn roster was out there to see her take it, and they were supportive of her. And I give all the credit in the world to that. But you could tell from the way that she landed, her head's going to hurt for a day, or did hurt for a day or two. Now, I know they're working the angle as far as injuries go. They're supposedly L2, L3. In other words, she's got a great reason to take Percocet, allegedly. But for me, the overall scenario is, when you take the fall, no matter how uncomfortable you might be at that exact moment, you sell the bump, you sell the moment, you sell the storyline. Billy will move you. Give him a second. Because longtime fans of the Dudleys know the fact that he goes into this zombie-like trance for a second after doing the flying table bump. Wick, did you happen to see any of that?
If there's one person you want to take a powerbomb from off the top rope, it's not Mike Awesome. God rest his soul.
Amen.
It's Billy Ray. Or Bubba, whatever. The Dudleys, look, you guys know the Dudleys are the greatest tag team of all time in my eyes, so you're talking to the wrong person about that, but you can't really take anything seriously when you're like, oh, the entire roster come out to watch her take a bump. She shouldn't be out there. But she took it. Hey, looked better than any Octavia match I've seen in the last few years.
MaBo, your thoughts on it?
I ain't seen it yet, yo. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. But I ain't seen it. I told you. Busy weekend.
Understand the concept. Folks,
Peanuts.
tell you what, before we take it to the top of the hour break, Wick, you said you were going to sit in for this first segment. I'm going to go ahead and toss to you for shameless plugs.
Yes, I'm about to watch Chinatown.
Ah, there you go.
I'm watching it. So we're going to enjoy Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, an American classic. And you can follow me at Wicked Nemesis, at the TBD Show on Twitter. And this Wednesday, we're going to talk to the Wrestling Roundtable's Eric Santamaria, infamously flagged by WWE for some stuff that they said about he who we do not speak of. So that's pretty much where they gained a lot of views on their YouTube pages, like millions. We're going to talk to him. He's also been doing a little bit of stuff with Ring of Honor. Hey, see, there you go.
There you go.
So, but of course, everything is scheduled to appear. You know, you never know; it could change because, after all, it is the to be determined show. So, thank you guys. You guys have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com. The Beyond cast from this past Wednesday is already up. Thank you to Robert Cosper for sitting in. Thank you to Jeff G. Bailey for gracing us with his presence. We even had the new sensation Steven Styles on for a little bit, and Tasha Simone and Chris Knox. I don't know what they were doing, but thank God that could have went a lot worse.
Very true.
Beyond cast and drink. There you go. But it was very nice to have them on, especially Tasha. You know, it's a long time since she's been on the show.
Exactly.
So thank you guys. You guys have a good interview. And I will be watching TV.
He'll be in Chinatown in about 7 minutes.
Yeah, doing it as least as I can.
There you go. Folks, hang with us. We are going to the top of the hour break, and we'll be back in 5. This is Beyond Ringside Live.
This is Harley Race, 8 times NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, first ever King of the Ring, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
This is Mr. Wrestling 2. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, everybody out there in Radio Land, this is Gavin Loudspeaker, a.k.a. Loud and Noxious, from the world of Chikara and Kaiju Big Battle, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
8 minutes after the top of the hour on this Sunday night, 10th day of August. Thank you once again to everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com, to everybody hanging out in the chat room. Daryl, Sid, glad to see you both. Wick was actually in the chat room a few minutes ago. Scary thought. And, of course, thank you to everybody who's been catching all the live broadcasts that are going up and down the Beyond Ringside family of shows. Coming up a little bit later on this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, WrestleRage with Mark Rage and Stan. And at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, it will be the brand new installment of the Midnight Black Mass starring the Reverend Dan Wilson. Got a lot of great things going on this evening. And, of course, we made the debut announcements a couple of minutes ago that the Beyond Ringside Beyondcast, i.e. podcast, is now being carried courtesy of Stitcher, which you can catch their app. Live feed. Thank you to everybody listening in for the first time through TuneIn Radio at tunein.com and their app. And also, thank you for everybody. Also, starting this week especially, we are going to be carried, the Beyondcast podcast is going to be carried over on Spreaker, Spreaker, and their mobile app. So a ton of new ways coming on board, and there's even more that I'm waiting on final notification for. You know, I've made the comment earlier this week that I love how some so-called news outlets will report a story without reporting a story. And you can tell who's got sources and who doesn't have sources and who's just throwing something up there to get their name out on the byline. An online media source reported the release of Alberto Del Rio, the ADR, and made no illusion whatsoever as to having any kind of clue one way or the other due to because of his release. And for Yahoo to allow one of their staffers to do that, in my humble opinion, is just bad management. That's just not good business. We all know that there are some people who work for Yahoo, just like they work for Google, they also work for various other news outlets on the internet, as well as radio and television and satellite, that are fans of pro wrestling. But they are also fans of themselves first and foremost. They want to get the word out, but they also want to get their byline out. They want to get their name out. Hey, I covered this story. No, you didn't. All you did was say that he got fired. Well, guess what? 163,000 other sites just did the same thing you did, but actually tried to speculate or offer up an opinion. You can't always do that. See, we make no bones about it around here. The simple fact of life stands that we're not going to try to purport ourselves as a news reporting agency. What we do here is very simple. A conglomeration of people who are in the business and fans of the business who will offer up editorial opinion and commentary about factual issues or hyperbole that we acknowledge and accept as hyperbole and hypothesis. There's a big difference. Now, MaBo, did you happen to catch the story that it was going across the Yahoo feed, or did you catch it? How did you originally hear about the ADR release?
I was whenever I sent the message to you on Facebook. I think I was. I can't remember if I was on Lords of Pain or I get like Twitter Twitter alerts now. That's like, this person you follow and 12 others have retweeted or commented or whatever. And I just remember, I can't remember if it was on Lords of Pain or something, but I just happened to scan it, and that's what I saw, and I was like, oh crap! And then that's when I messaged you and a couple other people, and all that was being said was that he, slapped a WWE employee. So, like I said, I wasn't sure what was going on.
Well, I just get tickled because, like I said, there were a number of different sources that were trying to offer up hyperbole and thoughts. And now, I understand that the Yahoo reporter was probably playing it smart and just saying, here's the facts, you decide. I respect that part. I do respect that part. And by the same token, that person could have also said blank at Torch or Observer or LOP or any one of the lesser known sites. Could have actually offered up something for the, he said, I read this over here about this person thinking this, but they didn't offer that up. And I respect that. But, and I realize that I'm sounding like I'm catch-22 in the guy. I realize that. I also realize the fact that I'm sitting back going, well, you did this, but you didn't do this, but by the same token, you didn't do this. So, yeah, there is almost a double standard in play. Because in this day and age, everybody wants what they want real quick. As far as information, whether it be gossip or truth. Where do you draw the line, MaBo?
Well, unfortunately, these days, there is no drawing of the line. It's sad to say.
You're right. I mean, unfortunately, we were talking about a movie in the previous hour. And television in the previous hour. Now, okay, I make no bones about it. I'm 48 years old. Whoop-de-damn to do. Age ain't nothing but a number. But when I was a kid...
Well, hold on. I've had a couple of court dates that might say different, but keep going.
There you go. When I was growing up, there were movies like The Poseidon Adventure. There was Airport 77. There were blockbuster mega hits. And our definition of playful movies were Star Wars and Smokey and the Bandit. And those have been very quickly supplanted by movies like Jackass.
Hey, I like Jackass.
Okay, Jackass is a television show. It should have never been made into a movie.
Well, by the same token, there's a lot of TV shows that have been made into movies that shouldn't have been made into movies.
That should have been made into television shows to begin with.
Hey, I like the Beverly Hillbillies.
Now, the Beverly Hillbillies is an entirely different animal. Look, there is a difference between situation comedies and alternative programming. Blues Brothers was a great movie. I enjoyed the hell out of that, Sid.
Wait, what?
Hinton over in the chat room posted the Blues Brothers as a viable movie. To me, that's still a must-see man movie. I don't care. Caddyshack was about as far out there as it got, and I'm okay with that. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, yes, we did have our stumbling blocks, Porky's.
Hey. Anyway, sorry, we're getting a little off topic here.
Would never actually have gotten consideration for an Academy Award. Had it been broadcast on the web, they'd have probably, Tosh.0 would have probably done a web redemption for them.
Not really.
I don't know, it was still a funny movie. One was good. Anything after Porky's, one sucked. Shifting topics, I'm going to ask you this one.
Well, I thought we were still talking about ADR slapping folks.
Okay.
Well, the reason why I asked there, Rockstar Spud, is because...
Kill you.
Hey, I like Spud. He's funny. WWE went on their Twitter and was encouraging people to go be mad at ADR. Like, even Triple H, retweeted it, and they were talking about that he's responsible for his own actions, blah, blah, blah. But, a lot of people are wondering why he didn't get the usual send-off.
Exactly.
Most of them do, and without his real name, and wish you the best in future endeavors. But, I mean, you found out why he allegedly slapped the guy, right?
Right.
He made a racist joke.
Allegedly.
Yeah, exactly, allegedly. But do you think there should be any ramifications against the employee, especially if somebody else maybe overheard? This dude's in charge of the social media and all that stuff.
I think it's a work.
Really?
I think it's a damn work. Because for anybody, look, if you get released, it doesn't matter if your contract's up or you just beat the living hell out of somebody in the back hallway. Or if you're in violation of the wellness policy for the third time. You get the traditional bye-bye. We wish you the best in your future.
Take a break at this point. We should take a break at this point.
Okay, we should?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take the break in 3 minutes.
Okay.
So from that vantage point, I think the whole thing is a work. But see, the thing about it is, nobody cares about Alberto Del Rio, just like they don't care about the Bella Twits.
Hey, look, I don't care. As long as Nikki comes up there and stands, I don't care. Just stand. She don't have to say anything. Just stand.
Yeah, just keep her out of the ring. Let her stand on the apron. Let her stand outside the ring. Don't try to put her in a match. Same thing with Brie. I don't care. Keep them out of the ring. You can have them on one of your favorite porn sites or pseudo porn sites or wannabe porn sites. I don't care.
Or the one that I always
Shut up.
I'm not going to say it, jerk face.
All right, dork face.
I was going to be nice and not say anything this time.
We do not advertise for those sites in any capacity at any time.
I didn't. That was never an advertisement. They weren't paying me.
Yeah, I know. but you're still mentioning it. Let it go. As we're getting ready to take it to the break, this is one I was going to say, but I do want to say this. Even though I'm not a big Yankees fan, I will say I am a Derek Jeter fan because of everything that he has meant to the sport of baseball. And yesterday, Derek Jeter passed Honus Wagner on the career hits list with 3,431 coming out of yesterday's game. He went 1 for 4 with a strikeout in the overall loss as the Yankees lost to the Indians. But congratulations, moving up. I mean, think about it. And he went on to sit back and say, quote, "I try not to think about it, but today Honus Wagner was the last one on that hits list going up the scale that played his position, shortstop, at all." So that does kind of hit home a little bit. That's a loose quote from Jeter. But anytime you pass guys that have had the careers that they've had, it's kind of overwhelming. So Jeter's also said everybody knows this is Jeter's final season. Damn it. So moving up to 5th is going to be really hard. He's going to need 84 hits to catch Tree Speaker at 3,515. So once again, congratulations, moving up once again another spot, moving up to 6th on the all-time hit list, 3,431. I don't know what the Yankees did today, so I haven't paid that much attention. I was busy watching the NASCAR race. Congratulations to AJ Allmendinger. Damn it, Allmendinger. And I'll cover that a little bit later in the show. Folks, hang with us. We're going to go to a quick break. We will be back in just a few. This is Beyond Ringside Live.
Randy Rose from the original Midnight Express, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. WrestleRage Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, WrestleRage Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Q-Ball Carmichael, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside. Listen up, friends.
This is Country Jack, Corey Hollis, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey everyone, this is the Cosz, Robert Cosper, host of Cosz and Effects Thursday Night Radio Throwdown. This is your invitation to join me, along with the Effects Stuart Couch, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, and all of the craziness that is C&E, right here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. It's wrestling radio with a twist, and some might just say with a twist of lime when the bar is open. Cause and Effect, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Hey folks. This is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside. Hello!
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne.
And I'm the Cosz, Robert Cosper.
And this is your invitation to join us
and the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock, right here for the Saturday Showcase.
At Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. See, we do math around this place. Be sure to catch us right here on BeyondRingside.com. You can also listen through WinAmp for Android and BlackBerry, as well as the Shoutcast mobile app for Apple as well. Remember, that's Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
And let me tell you how you can find the Hitman Big Daddy Cool Ryan Adcock on social media. It's very easy. It's at www.kissmyass.
Whoa. Stop that right there, folks. We'll see you Saturday on the Showcase. Bye for now.
Hey, everybody. This is NWA World Women's Champion Casey Carlisle, and you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
This is the Taylor-Made Man, Micah Taylor. All right, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
27 after the top of the hour. Anything can happen on the Sunday night edition. Welcome to Beyond Ringside Live. Glad to have you on board. Folks, want to remind everybody, of course, you can keep track of what's going on through the home site of www.beyondringside.com. Find us on Facebook. Friends page is full. 5,000 people. Please Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. And of course, you can also find us on Twitter at Beyond Ringside. MySpace is out there somewhere too, but we don't talk about that much, especially not after Justin Timberlake bought MySpace. Shoot me now. Fast Eddie Layne on this side of the control panel. Mark MaBo Bowman, welcome back.
Hey, never eat the weird thing at the bottom of the boiled peanut bowl. I don't know what that is, but I can taste colors and hear pictures.
Okay. And a very special welcome.
Sorry.
Tell you what, just for that, you're taking the welcome for our special guest.
No, you go ahead. You're good at it.
I hate you.
Well, I hired you, kid.
Yeah, right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome in our very special guest at this time. A lot of you are going to know him as the Twin States Heavyweight Champion. A lot of you are going to know him as the LXW Extraordinary Champion for the League of Extraordinary Wrestlers. Wonder where we both know that promotion from, MaBo. Better yet, we'll talk about that in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a megastar, Memphis Monroe. Mr. Monroe, glad to have you on board tonight.
Glad to be here, guys. Sorry about the mix-up with the phone number, but it is good to be on nonetheless.
Now, I like to start things out with what I call our franchise double play question. For all of us in the world of pro wrestling or mixed martial arts, boxing, any type of sport and or business. Now, I didn't say the business. We'll cover that in a minute. From that vantage point, there's always two moments. The first moment is when you become a fan. And in our case, it's professional wrestling. The second moment is when the little light goes off over your head and that little voice in the back of your brain goes, I got to do this. I got to do this. I don't care. I got to do this. For Memphis Monroe, what are those two moments?
Wow. I watched a lot of wrestling growing up with my dad. We watched everything that comes on, WWF, NWA, Memphis, Continental. But Memphis and Continental always stuck with me the most, and my dad used to take me to the Continental matches and the Memphis matches live. And where I really got hooked and become a fan was watching Jerry the King Lawler. And it was right around the time that Jerry Lawler was feuding with Austin Idol and Tommy Rich. And Austin Idol and Tommy Rich rammed his junk into the ring post. And he was gone for a few months. Then he came back with various partners. He had Nick Bockwinkel, he had Bill Lindy. He finally brought Bam Bam Bigelow to get revenge on Idol and Rich. And that was what really hooked me and really made me a fan, which I don't know what that says about me. Just seeing somebody's junk getting rammed to the ring post is what made me a fan of wrestling. When I decided this is what I wanted to do, it was at a live show. It was for Continental, and it was the Nightmares had split, and they were feuding against each other, Ken Wayne and Danny Davis.
Right.
And they were having all these types of gimmick matches, and they came to Columbus, Mississippi, and they had a match where you couldn't throw a punch. The first person to throw a punch lost the match, and the whole match consisted of Ken Wayne just antagonizing Danny Davis, trying to get him to throw a punch. And of course, Davis was already pissed because they had split up, so he wanted to punch him anyway. And just the psychology of that match, even as a young kid, watching how they worked that crowd, and they did the simplest wrestling holds through the whole match while Ken Wayne spit at him, slapped him, talked about his mother, everything under the sun, and it built and it built and it built until finally Danny Davis had enough, and he hauled off and punched Ken Wayne in the face, and that one punch got a bigger reaction from that crowd than any double flip, Hooter and Conrana power bomb off the top of the cage through a flaming table that I've ever seen since. And it always stuck with me that I want to do that, and I want to someday have that kind of power over a large group of people, that I can take something like that gimmick they had that night and control, anywhere from 200 to 10,000 people at a time. It was just amazing to me.
MaBo, come on board.
Now, Memphis, if I can call you Memphis.
Yeah, absolutely.
You obviously are heavily influenced by the old school Southern wrestling. Who were some of the guys that you looked up to as a Little Memphis growing up?
Well, obviously, like I said, Jerry Lawler, Austin Idol. I was a huge fan of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Always liked him, even though he was usually always the heel. I like the Nightmares. I always liked the mask guy. That's why Memphis Monroe is a masked man, because I liked the Assassins and Fire and Flame and the Interns, most of which were all played by Don Bass and Roger Smith in Memphis at various times. But I always liked the masked wrestlers, always that element of mystery, and always that oh my gosh, are they going to pull the mask off tonight? And and then half the time you wouldn't have known who they were if they did pull the mask off anyway. But yeah, Lawler was always a big influence on me. Like I say, Austin Idol, Eddie Gilbert, Jimmy Valiant back when he was in Memphis. Not so much the Boogie Woogie Mid-Atlantic WCW days, but I did like him in Memphis as a heel. Jimmy Hart when he was in Memphis. I mean, the guy could talk and was one of the greatest heels ever. I mean, Lawler, and to me, the Lawler and Hart feud in Memphis was one of the most genius things you could ever have for a show that ran every Monday night, because the basis of the feud was Lawler and Jimmy Hart, and you could just cycle through a new heel to be in the ring, which always kept it fresh. But at the root of it, you had all the build up with Lawler and Hart. And I always thought that was, really, really awesome way to do business.
Give me 3 words to describe your mindset and what you were feeling the first time you stepped into a ring for training.
Determined, nervous, and excited.
What was who did you originally approach about training?
A guy named Sammy Hall in Mississippi, who was I guess his main claim to fame was he did jobs for Bill Watts in Mid-South in the mid-'80s. Other than that, he wrestled around North Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Arkansas, but most of the TV that he ever did was for Bill Watts' Mid-South.
Now, for you personally, how many different areas have you worked in as far as states go?
Oh, let's see. Alabama, obviously, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Indiana, Texas, Kentucky, and Georgia.
Which state, for you personally, has had the most okay, we talk about different fan bases here on the show. And whether you're working out on the West Coast or up in the Northeast, the Central States area, the Midwest, the Southern States, Texas, all the way down through Florida, as far as the lower 48 goes, because the different geographic regions have different fan bases, which invest in different parts of the world of pro wrestling and the sport of pro wrestling. And you have some that pop for certain things, and others that kind of like, okay, we'll pass on that, but we'll come back to you in a second. And as far as it goes, some would go ahead and say the most rabid fan bases, but that all varies from moment to moment. But which has been the craziest groups of fans that you've seen in the different states you've been into?
The craziest ones I've encountered were in Tennessee, in Gibson, Tennessee. It was like when you went there, you might as well have went there in a DeLorean. It's like you went back in time, and people still thought it was real. That's the closest I've come in my lifetime to seeing some of the things that I've only read and heard about from guys like Jim Cornette and guys that worked the Mid-South territory, where fans were actually threatening my life and actually pursuing me outside the building, and actually had to have a police escort away from the building. And other than that, most places you go, like you say, I mean, they vary depending on the show and different things like that. But most everybody in my time that I've been able to wrestle have it's all still kind of that wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We get it. We'll holler when we're supposed to, but we know there's a line that we know. This is a show, and we're not going to follow you out the back door and try to get you. But like I say, in Gibson, Tennessee, I don't know, it's like a time warp, because you just swore it was 1980 up there.
MaBo, come on board.
Now, Memphis, some would call you, and I would say definitely a throwback to the heyday of Southern professional wrestling. But you are also steeped firmly in the here and now with, many of the various promotions you work for. What is wrong with these kids today with their flippy kicks and the puro resu and they got to do the, like you said, the hurricanranas off the cage to the table? What is up with them, in your opinion, as one who, draws upon the power of the Memphis old school, if you will? What is wrong with these kids? And they got the tag tights that look like it's made out of the pleather, and looks like they shot the Hot Topic. But in your opinion, what is wrong with them?
I do the old school thing because that's what I love, it's what I believe in, and I think there's a place for it. Now, granted, I don't think you can have a whole show of a guy like me going out there and working the chain gimmick and doing Iron Claw and doing the things that I do, but I think there is a spot on a show for it. It's depressing now when you ask about the kids today. It's depressing to me to be in a locker room and try to talk with some of these guys. And you asked me earlier who some of my favorite wrestlers are and who some of my influences are, and to realize that there are guys that are getting in a ring wrestling that don't know who Eddie Gilbert is. They don't know who Jackie Fargo is, who Sputnik Monroe is. They don't know Jerry Lawler's anybody more than an announcer on Raw for the last 15 years. And as far as the spots and the flips and all the craziness, I think a lot of that is to be blamed on ECW, because as much as and I'm a fan, and this may kill my gimmick to say this, but as a person, I was a fan of ECW when it came out, and I followed it and I watched it, and I loved it like everybody else. But, and I heard this said recently by Lance Storm. Lance Storm said ECW broke every rule that had ever been established in wrestling, and about 5 years in, they realized there was a reason you had those rules, because now what? You had the match with the 50 false finishes, and you tore the house down, you set the place on fire, you wrapped it in barbed wire, and you put somebody through it. Now what? But that's, to me, old school. I think back to Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Hart. These guys think old school. They think ECW and the NWO are old school to them. They don't even know who the guys are that I'm talking about. And they're not working that way because they weren't trained that way. Most of the guys weren't trained at all. They got on a trampoline and realized they could do a 450 splash through a table and could get those pleather pants you talked about. And now they're a wrestler, and they're working every weekend, and they're killing wrestling. I'm not saying everybody should go be a throwback and do what I do, but they need to learn their history. They need to learn who these guys are, and they need to learn how to work. I mean, I hold the belt at LXW, and I like the show. I like Kevin, but there's stuff that goes on that show that just absolutely turns my stomach, and mostly because I know those guys, I like those guys, and I hate to see them put themselves through some of the things that they do on that show, and I just don't know if the entertainment that's gotten from it is worth what they put themselves and their bodies through to do it. It's just sure as hell wouldn't be for me.
You are listening to Beyond Ringside Live, Fast Eddie Layne, Mark MaBo Bowman on this Sunday night, 10th day of August. Thank you to everybody hanging out in the chat room this evening. We are on the line with very special guest, Memphis Monroe. You bring up the word a minute ago. First off, thank you for bringing it up. Sputnik Monroe, the perennial favorite for a number of longtime wrestling fans based out of the southeastern U.S. and across the country. And this is one where I'm going to throw out a shameless plug for an old friend. We've had an author on the show who is actually a good friend of the show, Ron Hall, who came out with a book a few years back, I think it was 2009, called Sputnik, Masked Men and Midgets, the Early Days of Memphis Wrestling. Have you ever heard of the book?
Yes, I've heard the book. I've read the book. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the book. God bless Ron Hall for writing it. And Mark James as well, who does the Memphis Wrestling History books.
Right.
A lot of guys in the business today would do themselves a huge favor if they would get Ron Hall's book that you just mentioned and get Mark James's Memphis Wrestling History books and read those things cover to cover and get schooled on workers. I mentioned off there, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I come about the name Memphis Monroe, and this seems like an opportune time.
Go with it.
My father grew up in the Boot Hill of Missouri, and they grew up watching Memphis wrestling. And as a kid, he would tell me stories about Sputnik Monroe.
Yep.
And as I got older and became a fan of wrestling, and I would hear more stories, and a lot of the older guys that I was a fan of as a kid that I got a chance to work and be around would tell stories about Sputnik Monroe. And then, of course, the book, Sputnik, Mad Men, and I always screw the title up, Mad Men and Midgets and whatever. I learned a lot about him from that book, as well as Memphis Heat documentary, which is based on that book. Another great thing people could go out and check out is Memphis Heat. It's easily available online. So I was a big fan of Sputnik Monroe and what he meant, not only to wrestling, but Memphis wrestling and race relations in Memphis. He's highly regarded for that. He's credited with help desegregate, sports events in Memphis and all sorts of things. And so when I decided I wanted to do an old school gimmick, I wanted to pick a name that was relevant to that, but I wasn't just going to go rip somebody off. I wasn't going to, be like the 9,000 Patriots and Doinks and various people who claim to be, former stars. So I wasn't going to be the 10,000th assassin or an intern or whatever. So I wanted to come up with a name, and I decided, well, there's been a million Fargos. There's been people trying to be Lawlers. There's even been a kid here in Tupelo, down the road in Tupelo, that wanted to be Bill Dundee's son. Yeah. And so I said, nobody has ever used Monroe, besides Sputnik's shoot son that actually works. So I'm gonna use the name Monroe. And then I labored over what the first name would be, and I go, well, I'm wanting to do a Memphis gimmick, and I'm using this name. Memphis Monroe sounds pretty good, so let's be Memphis Monroe. And then I come up with Megastar, because Bill Dundee's a superstar. What's better than a superstar? A Megastar. There we go. So I've got a name. So while I'm wanting to do an old school gimmick, it is 2000 and whatever when I started this, so I had to have social media. So I got a Facebook, and I got, a website, and I got all this stuff together and put it live online. And it had been live about 30 minutes when I got a message from a guy you guys might know named Jeremiah Plunkett, who wrestles up around Nashville. And Jeremiah goes, hey, cool gimmick. I like it. You realize that's the name of a porn star, right? And I go, huh? And I go and Google, and sure enough, not only is Memphis Monroe an old-school masked fat wrestler, but there's also a blonde, large-breasted woman who is a porn star who is also named Memphis Monroe. But at that point, I was far too invested in this name, as I was already having tights made with Megastar and Memphis on it and all this. So I stuck with it, and I have gotten... My email is memphismonroe@mail.com, and I have gotten no less than about a dozen emails from freaks thinking they were emailing Memphis Monroe, the adult film actress, and I won't even go into what some of them contained. I just deleted them and moved on about my life. But no, I did not pick this name with the knowledge that there was an adult film actress with the same name. It's not how I came up with the name. I swear to God that it was exactly as I explained it. I come up with Monroe because of Sputnik. I come up with Memphis because I love Memphis, and just so happened somebody had beaten me to it. But makes for a funny story, and people go to a show and they go home and they're like, hey, let's Google and see if Memphis Monroe's online, and surprise, surprise, they get way more than they bargained for.
So if somebody approached you from Vivid or one of the other companies saying, hey, our Memphis Monroe wants to meet you, so you would be totally against the idea of doing Memphis meets Memphis?
Well, just for the sake of having knowledge, I did study some of her tapes just so I would know what I was talking about.
All in the name of research.
Purely professional, of course.
Of course.
The only reason. And, if there ever needed to be a meeting, if we ever needed to sit down and hash it out, and I needed to try to work it off or something, I don't know, perhaps we could make something work.
So, in other words, the title would actually not be Memphis Meet Memphis. It would be Memphis Does Memphis.
I believe that'd be fitting, yeah.
And then, of course, we'd get all the mail in the world, to which I would sit back and say, let's just send all those letters up to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Finish it, because they care about it as much as we do sitting here tonight, right? We're talking about it in fun. Don't take everything seriously, kids. Now, first up, there's a question I really want to hit, but I'm going to wait. MaBo, come on back in.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you could, you mentioned the DeLorean earlier. We got to get up to 88 miles an hour there, Marty. Oh, Marty. Oh, it's your kids, Marty. What, they become assholes or something, Doc? No. Anyway, yes, horrible impersonations are my forte. If you could hop on the DeLorean and go back and have a match with, somebody from the old school, who would it be?
Well, being a Memphis fan, my first response would be Jerry the King Lawler. Ironically, that is actually happening later this month, which we will talk about before this interview is over. So, since that is going to happen, I guess I would have to go with my second favorite wrestler, and a man who himself was a big fan of Jerry Lawler. I would want to go back and wrestle Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis in, say, around 1985.
Nice.
And I'd like to add, too, I left this off when I said names earlier, and I would be mad at myself if I didn't go back and throw this in. One wrestler from not the very present day, but from recent years, who was also a heavy influence on me, who I'm a huge fan of, and I think would have been a huge star had he been in Memphis back in the day. And if Superstar Billy Graham's DVD was called 20 Years Too Soon, I think my DVD and this guy's DVD would be called 20 Years Too Late, and that's Sweet and Sour Larry Sweeney. Oh. I'm a huge fan of Larry. I loved him. I was heartbroken when he took his life. And, man, if Larry Sweeney would have been alive and in Memphis in the 80s, he'd have been right there packing out that Coliseum with Jerry Lawler alongside Eddie Gilbert, and I think it would have been just absolutely entertaining and amazing to see.
Yeah. Oh, I can, that's where I'm with you at there, Memphis. I loved Larry Sweeney. Gentlemen, you and I both know Kevin Brennan was fortunate enough to book Larry Sweeney on a couple of shows, some years back. Had the opportunity to meet him a couple times. I could not say. There was just so much. I could spend hours talking about how much I enjoyed Larry Sweeney's matches. So much so, and Eddie knows me. Eddie knows that if there's two things when I used to go to shows. If I dressed up as the person, I either loved you or I wanted to mock you relentlessly.
Yeah.
And I actually was fortunate enough to had a homemade Larry Sweeney is my role model T-shirt. Had the sunglasses and everything. Had a picture. I was fortunate enough to have a picture taken with Larry. He actually, you could see the if you get a hold of the copy of the DVDs, he loved it. He told me even during intermission, he was like, "It's great." And I'm glad to know that there's somebody else out there who really appreciated Larry Sweeney as much as I did.
Oh, absolutely. That's how I discovered Kevin Brennan's IWA Deep South, when I found out that there were DVDs with Larry Sweeney wrestling Brad Armstrong and Bullet Bob Armstrong. I sought those out, and of course I liked a lot of some of the other stuff I seen on there and watched a lot more, but that is what brought me to watch IWA Deep South in the beginning. I was like, man, Larry Sweeney and the Armstrongs, I've got to see this.
Now, Memphis, if I may, based on a lot of the things that you've been saying at this point, there are two words that I want to get your definition of as they appear in the modern day. So for Memphis Monroe, define the word tradition and define the word respect.
Okay. Tradition, there's just not a lot of it left these days. I know the NWA prides itself on claiming it's what's left of tradition in wrestling, but if you ask me, what's labeled the NWA these days has nothing to do with tradition or anything of the past that it once represented. But I think that's two of the things that are missing in wrestling today is tradition and respect. There was a tradition in wrestling of how things were done, how guys carried themselves, how they treated each other, how they treated the business, how they treated the fans, and guys don't do anymore. And I don't know if it's, and I'm tying these together. I mean, I know you may want to answer separately, but I think they kind of go hand in hand. I don't know that it's a lack of respect or just a lack of knowledge, a lack of training, and there's just not guys teaching them nowadays to respect the business and respect the fans, respect what wrestling means to people. Wrestling is a huge part of my life and always has been since I was probably about 5 years old. I'm one of these weird people who followed it so closely and studied it so closely that all the memories in my childhood in my life are all linked to wrestling, and which is weird and sad in some ways too. But like I can go on WWE Network and I can watch the Great American Bash '88 and not only enjoy the show, but it brings back a lot of memories from when I was a kid because I link the two so close together. And I respect, the tradition of wrestling, and I want to, I can't change what everybody else does. I can't change what promoters do, but I want to be able to go to a show and hopefully, be an example for people and be somebody who at least tries to go out there and uphold the traditions of what wrestling was and what wrestling should be in my mind. And definitely respect the business for what it was and what it is and what it should be. Like I said, man, I don't want to knock LXW because I work for him and I love Kevin. He's a good guy, but I feel so weird going out there doing what I do, and then 4 matches later, or 2 matches later, or sometimes the next match, there's barbed wire and glass and fire and weed eaters and all this crazy stuff that goes against everything that I stand for. But I mean, different crowds are different. The Sylacauga crowd, LXW show in Sylacauga, there were 600 people there, and those people were there to see Dr. Tom Pritchard. They were there to see, and I realize I'm going so far off the path of what your question was, but
it's
bear
fine.
with me.
It's fine.
They were there to see Dr. Tom Pritchard. They were there to see Robert Gibson. They were there to see the Armstrongs, who wasn't there, but sorry. They were, I guess, there to see Mike Jackson wrestle Joe Hogan for the 5 millionth freaking time in the state of Alabama for some damn reason. I don't know why you'd want to see that again. And there was an Ultimate Dragon there, too, who wasn't Joe Hogan, so I was completely mind blown.
Oh, wait.
I don't know how that happened, but anyway. So that's what the people were there to see. And then when the craziness broke out and people were getting thrown off of high places and there was broken glass and there was ladders and there was people splattering on the floor and there was blood and there was gore and violence, most of the fans were disturbed. A lot of them got up and took their children and they left. And they were, there was just a real feeling of tension and uncomfortableness across the crowd. Now in Jasper, Tennessee, when I came out and was doing my old school shtick, it was met with some indifference. There was a few fans that played along, and there were some that were cheering me that shouldn't, but, whatever reaction is better than none. But then when the guy went out and stuck the weed eater in the guy's chest, and they started, there was an old man, in the corner who I would have thought was an old school fan, who I would have thought would have been there wanting to see handsome Jimmy Valiant against Bill Dundee in an old school wrestling match, who hollered out, "Get the weed eater!" About halfway through the match with Colt 45 and Otis, and then later in another match, hollered out, "Kill him!" literally uttered the words "kill him" when Demon Master, whatever his name was beating the living crap out of the guy he was wrestling. And so that crowd wanted to see that, and they enjoyed that. That's what they came for. Now, the difference is there was about 80 of those people, and there were 600 of the other people. Now, if you were a promoter, which one of those audiences would you want to cater your show to?
I understand what you're saying. Trust me, I understand what you're saying. Tell you what, see, that's a really tricky bird with me because I know that there are a lot of people who go for the ultraviolet, the hardcore, and I'm one of them. I actually enjoy it just as much as I enjoy scientific and traditional. I'm one of those very rare, strange birds that flies around. And thank God the Audubon Society has not tried to put me in a cage at the Birmingham Zoo. But I can see both sides of that coin because I've also seen shows where they've done the hardcore, and it's like with IWA Deep South. They've had shows where they have absolutely had them hanging from the rafters. And a lot of it depends on our favorite word in the English vernacular when it comes to any type of business. Location, location, location.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people will live 30 miles away from a show and say, I can't go there. That's too far. And then you have somebody who lives 3 hours from a live event, and they'll make that trip like it's going across the street to grab some French fries. But
well, let me turn the table here and ask you a question, because I'm interested in hearing your take on this. Because you like hardcore wrestling, but you also can appreciate old school, and I think you're also a fan of Chikara too, correct?
Keep going.
Okay. Now, I understand there is a niche audience that enjoys death matches because people come from all around and travel from places I can't even fathom to see the Carnage Cup, and that's awesome. There are people who are big fans of Chikara. There are people who are big fans of $5 wrestling. There are people who are fans of the old school Continental guys.
Okay.
Those are 4 different audiences, and to me, they're 4 different, distinctly different audiences. So what I was worried about at the LXW show in Sylacauga, and I don't know if we answered this question or not, really, but you had your opening match that had Frightmare and Kerry Awful and Josh Crow and someone else, forgive me for not knowing their name.
It's okay.
They had an awesome 4-way Chikara-style match, all right? Then you had Dr. Tom and Robert Gibson.
Right.
Then you had our match that had me and Big Donnie against Red Solo Cup and Freight Train. So you had elements of LXW and $5 wrestling all mixed in. And then you had the wild and crazy death match at the end. Can you mix all those styles of wrestling together on one single show and entertain everybody and not alienate anybody, and nobody walk away going, I liked the one match, but that other stuff, I didn't get it. Like, okay, you had the pastry, the kosher chef against
Andrew Goldstein
Jeremy
versus
Flint, who is Hulk Hogan, rest of Hulk Hogan. All right, can taking that roller coaster ride of here's this fast-paced car style match, now there's this hard-nosed old school style match, and now there's a chef wrestling Hulk Hogan.
It was actually Hollywood Kyle Bakula.
$5. Yeah, Kyle Bakula, yes, and I shouldn't be calling people's names but anyway. And then we got the death match. Are you not going to step on somebody's toes and turn somebody completely off in the process? I'm asking this because I, as a fan, I find this intriguing. I'm not asking this as Memphis Monroe, the wrestler, but just as a fan of wrestling. Can this be done? Because if it can, Kevin is on to something great. But if not, are you going to kill your crowd with too much variety?
Okay. Kevin did the exact same thing, and you're going to laugh when I say this, that Paul Heyman did with Extreme Championship, Paul Heyman and Todd Gordon did with Extreme Championship Wrestling when it was sitting on top of the world building a reputation around the world. because not only did they do hardcore and weapons matches, but they also brought you the new, the exciting, the innovative stuff that would make you think, stuff that would make you wonder, and in the words of the CNC Music Factory, things that make you go, And what Kevin has managed to do with LXW. Now, he and I had a conversation a couple of days before the event up in Tennessee, and I did ask him a point-blank question. I said, do you realize that you're taking LXW in the direction of IWA Deep South when they were two unique and totally different products? And he said, actually, I do know that I'm doing that, but I want to do this on this particular show, which I can understand that. But I also know in my realm, and this is something that MaBo can definitely come on board and answer in his perspective too, even though we're going to share a similar mindset. It doesn't, in this day and age, you have to be able to offer something more than just a one-dimensional style show. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of what they do in Chikara, just like I'm a huge fan of ROH. Just like I was a huge fan of Extreme Championship Wrestling and still, wish that they were still around to this day. Somebody please get on the horn and manage the books properly without cooking the books. I mean, I like the tried and true traditional. One of my favorite matches of all time was Bullet Bob Armstrong versus the Nature Boy Ric Flair in Boutwell Auditorium years ago when they went to a 48-minute time limit draw. And hold on. Okay, had to pop. But from that vantage point, I also enjoyed matches involving the Dudley Boys, Public Enemy, Just Incredible Lance Storm. So my taste run very wide scale and diverse. One of my favorite times of year is King of Trios. Just like one of my favorite times of year used to be Starrcade. So I'm the exception, not the rule in that particular regard. I'm going to defer to my tag team partner. MaBo, come on in, your thoughts on the concept.
Yeah.
The diverse.
Sorry, he usually throws me off when he starts going really fast, and then he immediately throws to me. He doesn't give me time to warm up. I haven't been taking any practice swings. Well, I look at it like this. I could see both points of view, but I mean, it also goes back to the whole location. Like you mentioned, it's, do you really want to say if you know that you're going into a show that is got some, not just Southern legends, but legends booked on it, that a lot of those, a lot of the original fan base is going to come out. So do you really want to book, like a death match style? I mean, a hardcore match, yes. Death match, no. I mean, that's just my opinion. But then again,
well, see, that to me, that's the problem too. That where you said like location, and I totally get the parallel. And don't mean to cut you off. So I get the parallel that Eddie's saying between ECW and LXW, but the crowd in Philadelphia is a lot more broad-minded than the crowd in Sylacauga who came to see the Armstrongs and probably ain't been to a wrestling show since the late '80s.
Yeah.
And they have no clue what to make of a chef wrestling and guys getting thrown off of, ladders into the floor and like that,
Oh, and exactly. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's just you kind of want to put some forethought into where you're going with it. So I mean, but by the same token, say Kevin didn't book the death match. Let's say he went with just a Chikara style match. Well, you don't know how that old school traditional style fan is going to take, 15 flips off the top rope or, the lucha style. You don't know how they're going to take that. Because, well, they might be like, oh, I don't need to watch this flippy dippy stuff. So it's really kind of hard to, pick and choose. But I mean, I could definitely say, like I said, I see both sides. It's definitely pick and choose wisely. And then when you do pick and choose, you don't want to overextend it. Like if you are going to do a death match, you don't want to do, 4 or 5.
Right.
And so, unless it's a death match tournament, then, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, if it's a death match tournament, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and some people will still end up bringing their kids, even though it clearly says death match tournament. And that's what I've always had issues with, is people, it clearly says deathmatch tournament and you want to bring your kids. So, but that's kind of off topic there. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, whereas Eddie still enjoys the death matches, I've kind of gotten away from it. I mean, I'm not saying I've grown up. Like I'm not trying to say I'm more mature than Eddie, because we all know that's true.
Oh, there you go.
But no, I mean, like I used to be huge fan. I don't know if you had a chance at the LXW show when we were up in Tennessee, but there was a gentleman that called the matches the rest of the night. Nathan. I don't know if you had a chance to meet him back in the.
Yeah, I did actually in passing.
Yeah, he. As you know, he is a huge deathmatch fan, and he and I were going back and forth on commentary about the various death matches that we've seen, and I've kind of, like I said, that was back in late '90s, early 2000s. When it first started becoming really huge, and I was a huge fan of all that stuff. I mean, I was sitting there ordering and here you go, kids, sit down, the VHS tapes of from over in Japan, and I've kind of gotten away from that. And like I said, to me, the occasional death match, if placed properly, I'm okay with it. But there's sometimes where it gets a little, excess, and you might want to kind of cater to that audience that's watching, because you don't want to not just upset them to where they don't come back to your product, but there might be some that might cause a riot, or not a riot, but cause a ruckus and want their money back, and then word gets out, and you don't really know, because, heck, one of the first shows that I want to say that I remember going to that Kevin Brandon put on pre-Deep South, I can't remember what it was before it was one of the first Carnage Cups, the police were called, and they shut it down. This was the one that was continued in Elton Lot, Tennessee, about a month or so later. I was there when it was shut down, when Ian Rotten and Madman Pondo were, sitting there, trying to calm the fans down, because the fans were about to riot because the police had been called because of, one or two fans who were disgusted by it, and the police showed up, shut the show down, and the fans that were in attendance were calling for, the police officer's blood, I think Kevin's blood. They were ready to riot because they were getting gypped out of their death match. So it's one of those. It's always just a tricky pony to try to break. So I know I've skated around the question like Brian Boitano.
Thank you, Cartman.
Back to you.
That's what he would do.
What would Brian Boitano do if he were here right now? He'd avoid the question just like me. That what Brian Boitano do?
Exactly.
I hate to do this. We're coming up on a C break and a network break. Do me a favor. Can you come back? Would you be willing to come back and join us another time?
Sure, absolutely, man. I'm game to come back anytime. I love talking wrestling, and you guys are a lot of fun. So, yeah, you name the time, and I'll be there.
Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. And I know...
Eddie.
Yes.
Eddie, real quick, though. Memphis, coming up...
I was about to go there.
Okay.
Because speaking, we've got events that come up and down the pike, and I know that you've got one that you are very prominently featured on. It's going to be on Saturday, August the 23rd. If you would, let everybody know a little bit about it.
Yes, Saturday, August 23rd in Tupelo, Mississippi at the Salvation Army Community Center, which is actually a very large, nice community center. When you hear Salvation Army, it sounds like it would be, anyway, I'm not going to go there. Anyway, it's a really nice, big building. They used to run a lot of wrestling there over the years. IWF was featured there. It was a TV show there in the early 2000s. But the show is called the OWO Super Show because they're going to have Grandmaster Sexay himself, Brian Christopher, will be there taking on Barry Wolf. He's a great talent from down on the coast. The OWO champion Sean Reed, who some people who listen to the show may be familiar with, will be taking on DC. But in the main event, you're going to see Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Superstar Dundee, and Neil the Real Deal Taylor will be across the ring from Bad Attitude Tony Dabbs, Extreme Brett Michaels, and the Megastar himself, Memphis Monroe, along with our manager, Hollywood Jimmy Blaylock. So I will get the opportunity to step in the ring with two of my heroes, Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee. And as much as I hate to do it, just think of how much of a megastar I would be if I could be the guy that retired those two.
Exactly. Real quick, let's see. Bell time's going to be 7:30 p.m. Do you know what time the doors are going to open?
Doors should open about 6:30. There's actually some VIP tickets that'll get you early entrance into the building, to get you a special program for the show and a meet and greet with Jerry Lawler at Building D and some of the other babyface types that'll be there. And for more info on that, you can check my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Memphis Megastar. And if there's any promoters out there listening to this who want to book me, my email is memphismonroe@mail.com.
And are you also on any of the other social networks like Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter, Memphis Megastar on Twitter as well. I don't tweet a whole lot, but I do get on there, and I've been telling myself I need to get on there more, so check it out. If I get a few more followers, I might be even more inspired to share useless tweets, just like everyone else does. And who knows? So, yeah, Memphis Megastar is my Facebook and my Twitter both.
And before we let you run, MaBo, one more round. Got one more question you'd like to ask?
Oh, here's one. I mean, I know traditionally, well, I don't know, maybe these days they kind of do it, but traditionally you don't really see much merchandise from heels. Could we possibly see a Megastar Memphis Monroe T-shirt or maybe even replica masks for the little chillins to run around with, and they could be little Memphis?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, MaBo. I already do have some Memphis Monroe T-shirts. They will be available in Tupelo at the OWO Super Show, and I'm in talks with one Jack Lord of Bomberware on making some Memphis Monroe replica masks as well.
And let me go ahead and say to longtime friend and colleague, the Bomber Jack Lord, always a pleasure to hear your name and always a pleasure to talk to you, brother. Keep in touch with us.
That's right. He is the man who made all my gear, all the masks and tights and all the stuff you see me wearing it's from Jack Lord. So he's the man. Check him out. Get him to make your gear. Don't wear baggy garbage bag pants. Get Jack to make you something nice. Look like a wrestler, for God's sakes.
Exactly. That's. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Eddie, but I agree. You know, if you come out wearing the looks like you tried to wear, you know, Jerry Lynn's pants from the ECW days, but you decided to MC Hammer style them. No, stop that. Nobody likes that. Oh, and one more thing, I just throw one out there, Memphis. I don't know if your fan base has an actual name, but I would like to petition them to be called the Memphomaniacs.
I like that. I think I will put that in place.
Digging it. Memphis, thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Like I said, we want to have you back on soon. If you're as soon as we can get everything worked out as far as the timing and the schedule, love to have you come back on.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for having me on. It's been an absolute blast. And, hey, like I said, anytime you guys know where to reach me, I'll be glad to do it again. Thanks for having me on, and take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest, the Megastar, Memphis Monroe, has just gone beyond ringside. Hang with us. We're going to the sea break, and we'll be back in 5. This is Beyond Ringside Live.
This is the Warlord of Weird, Sin Bodie, and when I'm not playing Go Fish with a two-headed midget or riding around cracking a whip at a donkey show, I will have you locked in Beyond Ringside. Sin Bodie out.
Hey, this is Stan Grubb for WrestleRage Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for myself and Smart Rage as we discuss the professional wrestling business from WWE, TNA, and all things in between. We'll have an interview here or there. We'll see what we can do to just keep you entertained. And along the way, we're going to have to bring up some emotion and make you think. That's what we like to do. So join us here on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you at WrestleRage.
Hello, everybody. This is Dirty Dutch Mantel, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
All bad things must come to an end. The world's most notorious rock band is saying goodbye forever. Dodge presents Motley Crue, the final tour, with very special guest Alice Cooper. Friday, August 15th, Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now. Motley Crue, the final tour. For more info and tour dates, visit motley.com.
Hey guys, this is Christy Ritchie, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark MaBo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. All right, ready to hit the home run round, as I have called it for years. Various.
I don't mean to laugh. It's just kind of like if you ever see outtakes from Hollywood movies where the one guy just comes in like really big or whatever and throws everybody else off. That's what Eddie did. He just came in. He was like, "All right." I was like, "Whoa, what the crap?"
There you go.
It really threw me off. I'm not like it just genuinely threw me off. I don't even know how to deal with that right now.
Once again, thank you for tuning in this evening on this special live edition. You got us Beyond Ringside Live Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time start time. Special thank you to the Megastar, Memphis Monroe, for coming on board. Fast Eddie Layne on this side of the control panel. MaBo, come on back in.
I am a Memphomaniac.
You're going to run that one, aren't you?
Hey, I come up with a lot of ideas. Most of the time, they're not very good. But every once in a while, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn.
There you go. Real quick, let me run this down. The event that Mr. Monroe was talking about, Saturday night, August 23rd, 7:30 p.m. It's going to be at the Salvation Army Community Center, 527 Carnation Street in Tupelo, Mississippi. Tickets are available at Fun World in Tupelo, as well as Knoll Motors in Amory, Mississippi. $15 VIP reserve seating gets you early entry into the arena for a special meet and greet, as well as a souvenir program. 12.
See, and let me stop you right there, Eddie. I hate to cut you off during the middle of the promo, but that's what you don't see a lot of these days.
Meet and greets.
No, well, not meet and greet. I mean, I like
souvenir programs.
Souvenir programs. I used to love back when WWE would come through as WWF, and they had the souvenir programs, and WCW as well. 9 times out of 10 with WWE was just they just pared down and modified the latest magazine, but still. You'd always get the match sheet. Remember they always put the little insert in there?
The card.
What you were saying that night?
The card.
Yeah. I love that. And I'm thinking that's, is it cost prohibitive? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't even know what that word means. But I like to use it. So I'm just thinking there's some companies, especially in the South, who have this old school Southern fans, not naming any names because I refuse to, who might benefit from maybe putting out a program every once in a while like they used to back in the day when I liked going to the show.
And we'll talk about that off air because that's actually something that I've put together the template for.
Okay, well, good. Then I want my royalties from it then.
No, because I'd had the template together long before you just brought it up.
But I just materialized it with my words, so royalties.
No, not even close.
Royalties?
No, not even close.
Royalties.
No, not even close. General admission seating for the OWO Super Show, $12. Those are bleacher seats. Kids 10 and under, only $9. Keep your eyes open at OWOSupershow.eventbrite, EVEN. I think that should be Eventbrite. Eventbrite.com. Also, I said.
Also, keep your eyes open when you're driving.
Yeah, that's always a good idea, too. Once again.
Ooh, too soon?
Yes. Keep your eyes open after you get out of the car.
Keep your eyes open if you get out on the track.
Way too tsunami.
Too tsunami.
Way too tsunami. And now, moving on. Also, very special thank you to Big Red with Rage Pro Wrestling for coming on this past Tuesday night. Back to basics with yours truly and Wiggy. They have a great event coming up Saturday, August the 16th, this coming Saturday night in Hanover, Pennsylvania. It's going to be at the Hanover National Guard Armory, which from what I've heard, this is a pretty good-sized place. Balls Mahoney slated to be there. Sonny slated to be there. Jay Credible, formerly Justin Credible, The Patriot, Tommy Dreamer, Rob Eccles, and a whole host of stars that a lot of people are going to know from the localized level as well as the national level. It is Right to Bear Arms. Check out rpwpro.com. Once again, very special thank you to Big Red from Rage Pro Wrestling for coming on. Also, matter of fact, let me go ahead and say this. Beyond Ringside family member, and I will always call him that, the Master of Malice, Mark James, one half of the tag team called the Brutes, will be in action taking on, I do believe, Balls Mahoney and Mikey Whipwreck.
Ooh.
Yes,
like
I know.
Or a tag match?
Tag match.
Oh, well, you just said Mark James. I didn't know if you were going to include.
I said
Mark
one half
James.
of the tag team called the Brutes, and the Brutes will be taking on.
Oh, okay. I was getting confused. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Who's the other half of the Brutes?
We'll talk a little bit more. Okay. Actually, because give me a second, because I'm actually working to get both of them on.
Oh, that's good. I hadn't talked to Mark in a while. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he actually, we had, oh, Lord, I'm trying to remember exactly who all we've had over in the last few weeks. Between us, Tuesday, WrestleRage, TBD, the Midnight Black Mass, Saturday Showcase, my days run together. They genuinely do. But from that vantage point, no, but as far as Mark's partner over on the Brutes, I haven't had an opportunity to really sit down and speak with him yet. So therefore, like I said, we're going to work to get him on in the very near future. We had a chance to talk about the ADR situation. Yay team. Had a chance to make my little shot of the week saying that Dixie Carter is nowhere near as tough as Mae Young was. Congratulations again to Derek Jeter passing Honus Wagner. Ultimate achievement. I would like to go ahead and say this, speaking of NASCAR for a hot second that we were talking about earlier in the show. Congratulations to AJ Allmendinger on his win today at the Sprint Cup race in Watkins Glen. That is his first win and the first win for his team, which a lot of people are going to know one of the primary owners is Brad Daugherty. Former NBA standout, college football standout, and also ABC NASCAR analyst. And also for the NASCAR fans out there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a strong enough day, and Jeff Gordon had a weak enough day for Dale Jr. to move into first place in the NASCAR Sprint Cup point standings, as well as he is now, and for now, unless something happens in the next 3 weeks, which it's NASCAR, anything can happen from week to week, he is now officially recognized as the number 1 seed going into the chase if the chase were to start tomorrow. So, congratulations to Dale Jr. Great day. Congratulations to Junior Nation. Y'all got a reason to cheer. We have a reason to cheer all over again. It's been a great week. It's been a crazy weekend. And the weekend for us is going to continue. And I've got to throw this one out there. I know you didn't watch Impact this past Thursday, but you've had a chance to watch Kenny King on Impact.
Yeah, I'm familiar with his work.
When they're doing gab fests, yak breaks, cutting promos, if you actually want to be liberal enough to call it that, does anybody look at Kenny King and get the simile between him and that little yipping dog from Looney Tunes? It's like, okay, I'm here with Spike. Yeah, I'm here with the big guy over here. I'm here with the big dog. And just is annoying as hell.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, and, if I hurt his feelings, which I doubt he'll even ever hear this, if I, or any of his fans, more so any of his, fans, because, everybody likes who they like. I mean, I'm sure there's guys that, I enjoy their work that everybody else is like, oh, that really? Him? Are you kidding? But I've honestly never cared for definitely his mic work, because there's coming off as a braggart, in what you do. And then there's coming off sounding like a fake braggart. And then there's coming off, when people, you could obviously tell somebody's lying, like, I was with this girl last night and all that. And then there's the guy who tries to be the fake braggart.
Right.
Who it goes from, I was with this fine girl to, I was with Kate Middleton or Upton or whatever the Kates that the kids like these days. And I'm just like, and that's how he comes off to me. Kenny King comes off to me, not just as a braggart, because heel MVP when he first showed up in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Never cared for that weird long sleeve scuba suit that he used to wear. But he would come off as a braggart, and you would buy into it though. Kenny King does it, and he sounds like the over braggart, the guy who maybe heard the bragger on the corner and then goes back and relays to his friends, but does it, over embellishes it way too much, and comes off sounding like a complete idiot.
Right.
And that's how I feel about Kenny King when he gets on the mic. In the ring, You know what? When he was with when it was he and Rhett Titus, I can't remember if they had what was their name?
The All Night Express.
All Night Express. Thank you. I mean, God, how many expresses have we had in the business these days? But
I'm actually a big fan of Egg Roll Express.
Huh?
I'm actually a big fan of Egg Roll Express.
Oh, I enjoy a good egg roll. But it's just like his in-ring work. I'm okay with. I got no real issues with his, in-ring work. Could be a little better, but could be 100 times worse, especially for him to be a tough enough cast-off. So I just it goes past, like you said, the yippee dog for me. It's just every time he opens his mouth, it's what they call the X-Pac heat. Just his mouth, when he starts to talk, regardless, I just want to punch him in the face because I'm just like, you sound like an idiot. Stop it. So that's how I feel about Kenny King. That's just and him, coming from. And yeah, he does. He goes beyond the yippee dog. I always enjoyed that yippee dog in the cartoons because he'd end up getting Spike would end up smacking him. And then, of course, like at the end of the cartoon, he was the one wearing the bowler hat and chomping on the cigar.
Exactly.
So, but that's Kenny King, harsh reality. That's never going to be you.
Hate to see it, but you're probably right on that one. Got a last call you want to throw out there?
I did, but I totally forgot.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not lying. I know I didn't have one off the air, and then I came up with one, and now I forgot. So please forgive me. And everybody listening, hey, look, I know normally I catch most everything before we go on the air, even though I say I don't. I just do that to, rub Eddie the wrong way. I like to torture him in only the ways I can. But, yeah, I feel bad because I honestly did not get a chance to watch anything this weekend. And so, I'm just like, oh, crap. Well, now I'm going to let the people who listen, I feel like I'm letting them down. So I apologize if I sound like I'm a little off this week, guys. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my last call. My last call is an apology to all you schmucks listening.
And actually, Sid over in the chat room, Hinton1 said, King is a top-tier wrestler, but his mic skills, not so much. He sounds like Mike Tyson after he sucks a helium balloon. I will agree to that. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging out in the chat room this afternoon. By the way, real quick, do you want to go and throw shameless plugs out there, or do you want to do Wicks for him?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Let's run it down real quick. At Beyond Ringside over on Twitter. At Fast Eddie Layne on Twitter. At Wicked Nemesis on Twitter. At I'm not going to say it because he's asked me not to say it for MaBo on Twitter. Ain't that right?
Sure.
Okay. From that vantage point, keep your eyes open. BeyondRingside.com. We're going to have updated links on the main page and through the media page about all the different ways that you can catch the podcasts, the Beyondcasts, the replays, you name it. A little bit later, in about 29 minutes from right now, it's WrestleRage with Smart Rage and Stan.
Those boys put on a good show, or at least half of them do.
And in about 2.5 hours from now, it will be the brand new installment of the Midnight Black Mass.
And let me go ahead and tell you people listening there. Yeah, and I said, yes, I called you people. You would be doing yourself a great disservice. I mean, definitely stick around. WrestleRage, they're good guys. They put on a good show. They'll never be us, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong, with being second place. Somebody's got to wear the silver medal. But you would be doing yourself a great disservice if you do not stick around for the Reverend Dan Wilson's Midnight Black Mass. This guy does a heck of a show. I haven't really had a chance to speak on it too much because he scares the bejesus out of me. But this guy, I am so glad he has joined the Beyondcast Network because what he brings with his show, and we all bring, each individual show brings their own, different, stew and or casserole to the Sunday buffet, meaning like the church buffet, not just every Sunday. But what Reverend Dan Wilson brings, yes, it's probably an arsenic cherry pie, and it's going to kill everybody. But I cannot say enough about it. So definitely stick around after WrestleRage and tune in. It is worth it.
If you check out BeyondRingside.com, you definitely see the entire broadcast calendar for the week. I'll run it down for you real quick. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, it is Back to Basics. Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, it is the To Be Determined show. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, Cosz and Effect present the Thursday Night Radio Throwdown. Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, Beyond Ringside's Saturday Showcase. Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, BR Live, the flagship. Once again, and in about 27 minutes from right now, WrestleRage kicks off with Smart Rage and Stan. For the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Go out and support your local independent wrestling. I have a mohawk. No more.
For Mark MaBo Bowman.
Yeah, kind of don't feel like doing anything funny today. I'm taking an off day. I'll talk to you later.
This is the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne saying, until next time, join us right here as we all go Beyond Ringside. Bye for now.
Taco Tuesday.